Welcome to O'Neill Artworks and Lightbox SVG. My name is Wenda O'Neill, and today's tutorial is all about the very cool, so awesome Book Nook Lantern. I'm going to show you how to cut the file that I offer in my Etsy shop. First, let's upload it, resize it, and cut it. To start, you're going to need to upload the file into your Cricut design space. So you simply click Upload, browse for the file, locate the SVG that says Final Copy Lantern File, and then follow the prompts to add it to your Cricut Design Space workspace. Now the first thing that you'll see is it's really big. Take a look at that. The size is 31.968 in width and 30 inches high. Way too big. So I'm going to show you how we're going to fix that. Also, you can see that Cricut is not even going to let you cut this size. So let's just fix this and make it the size that we want. I'm going to resize it for the largest size possible for a 12 by 12. So first, select Ungroup. But don't click anywhere on the desktop because we want everything still all selected. Then choose Align, and then choose Center. And what that's going to do is it's going to take everything that you've just imported and put it into the smallest possible footprint on your design space. So you can see now we're 13 by 15. So in order to cut on a 12 by 12 piece of cardstock, you know you need to cut 11.5 inches. So I'm just going to take the height, which is the largest size, I'm going to change that to 11.50. And now, because everything was selected, everything has been resized proportionately. And you can see on the right-hand side, there's no more errors. So I'm just going to choose Make. And because everything is in a different color, all of the things that need to be cut with the same cardstock will be on their own sheet. So you can see the lantern, the wallpaper, the carpet, and the stairs. Now let's take a look at how to put it all together. I've used double-sided wood patterned cardstock for the base and the floor of the lantern. I've used some farm style cardstock for the wallpaper and the stairs. That did not need to be double-sided. But the lantern and the floor do need to be double-sided because one side is going to be on the outside and one side is going to be on the inside. So you do want to be very mindful about the double-sided cardstock. I am going to link below in this video the cardstock pads that I used. So to start, we're going to fold the lantern on all of the perforated edges. I'm just going to speed this up a little bit. I'm just folding all of the perforated edges. If you want to pause the video and then do this with your cuts, that's fine too. Okay, so we're all folded up, and I'm going to attach the flat side of one panel to the tabbed side of the other panel. And you can see they match very nicely. Today I'm going to be using Aleene's Quick Dry Tacky Glue. It's okay. It works. It's not the best glue for this project. I'll put a link below to the Zips Quick Dry Glue. But I ran out of that glue and I really wanted to put this video together. So I'm going to be using Aleene's. The only issue I find with Aleene's is it's a little messy on your fingers. And also it warps the cardstock a little bit because I use a lot of glue. I like to make it really firmly, really well stuck. So I'm just going to glue these two pieces together. Perfect. The next step is the wallpaper. And this is just going to get glued directly onto the inside of your panels. Just making sure everything got resized properly, everything matches. I always do that before I glue it down. You never know, right? So I'm just going to put a lot of glue on the back here and glue that onto the panel. It's very easy to tell which piece of wallpaper goes where because one has a cutout for the lights to come inside and the other doesn't. I'm just going to speed this up because I think you see where I'm going here. I will mention that you can see I'm lining up the cutout so that it is really at the bottom of that cutout there. And I'm just using this ruler thing to make it as flat as possible. And now let's put the other wallpaper side in. Again, I'm just using the Aleene's glue, just kind of slathering it on there. And then I'm going to line it up with the other wallpaper, sort of centering it in this panel, but lined up with the other side. Now you can see how it's starting to come together when we fold it into the square. You can see that there's the back wall, the side wall, and the front wall. The next thing we need to do is we need to put in the stairs. But in order to do that, in order to have it stick well, first fold the perfs on the sides, and we're going to kind of put the lantern together at the same time that we're putting the stairs in, because the glue does need time to dry. It's not as fast as the Zips fast dry glue. And what we're going to do is we're going to glue one side, and we want it right at the bottom of where the wallpaper has lined up, so it's going to cover that hole when we close it. It's going to cover the hole where the lights come in, but it's going to just cover the hole where the lights come in. And that's because when we put the floor in, that's going to cover the rest of it. So I'm just really lining it up with the bottom, and I'm going to let this really dry really well. And you can see that the stairs are to the right of the perforated edge. So we want to be able to fold it. So we want to make sure that we are not covering any of our perfs, because those perfs are where we're going to fold the lantern shut. So here's where we're going to start to assemble the lantern before we glue the other side of the stairs. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to glue the top of the lantern above the stairs. And you can see I'm using these small clips. This helps because the glue doesn't dry as fast as you would want the glue to dry, and you don't have to, just sit there and hold the glue until it's completely dry. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put glue on one of the tabs that's coming down that we've already folded. Remember, we folded all the perfs. And now we're going to take the other tab and pinch it so that it lines up perfectly, nice and right at the top. And it's hard to see, I know, I'm sorry. I'm just pinching it with my hands. But now I'm going to take the little clips and I'm going to clip in there so that the peak of the lantern right there is clipped very close to where it needs to be, because I really want that to be a nice firm glue point. And then I'm going to also clip inside at the other end so that that's nicely firmly, so when the glue dries, it'll be really perfect. There we go. It's nice, that's a nice edge. So we're starting to assemble our lantern, and now we're going to do another corner because we really want to pull the lantern together before we glue the other side of the stairs. I actually waited about 3 minutes before I removed any of these clips because Aleene's really takes that long to glue, to dry. But what I wanted to do is, see here, I need to do this other side before I can do the stairs. Oh, it looks like I forgot to fold that. But what I wanted to do was be able to get the points really super sharp. So I'm going to need to remove that first clip at that point, which means I needed to let it dry. Let's slather some Aleene's glue there. And I'm doing the same thing I did last time. I'm really wanting these edges to be right up there, really nice and firm. See how that's splitting apart? That's going to need to be brought together. And that's what the clips are just so important. So let me get those clips in there and I'll show you what I mean. Great. Now that I have those two edges connected, you can see that it's going to be easier for me to glue the other side of the stairs in without it pulling apart. But I am going to do one more corner and bring it all closer together. So again, we're just going to slather the glue up on that tab, pinch it, clip it, let it dry a little bit before we start manipulating it, and move on. Again, I really let it sit for about 2, 3, 5 minutes before I removed any of these clips because I really want the glue to hold. I don't want it to pull apart. And I needed to remove some of the clips in order to fit the new clips because I really want the corners at the tops to be a very sharp point. I want it to give it the look of a real lantern. Really made out of wood, right? So let's close this last one. Look at that, so nice. And we'll put the clips in to make it nice and tight. Great. Now that we're mostly closed, the stairs just need to be glued to the other wall. And it's going to be so much easier to do now because the lantern is mostly made. It's no longer going to pull those stairs away from the wall. So I'm just going to put the glue on. And I like to use something long like a screwdriver. It's rigid. It allows me to push on one side, push on both sides. So on one side I have my hand and on the other side I have the screwdriver. And I'm just holding it against the wall and allowing the glue the time it needs to really stick and so it won't pull apart. Now the last thing we need to do with the pieces that you have so far is glue that final wall together. And the final wall has should have a tab and then a flat side. And you can either put the tab on the outside of the flat side or on the inside of the seam, doesn't matter. Whatever, I don't know what pattern you've selected. I don't know if it'll show up. I like to tuck it on the inside, so I'm just going to put a bead of glue and then stick it on the inside and then just kind of pinch it shut and get the glue, line it all up, make it all nice and tight and in line. Okay, the final piece of your lantern is the floor. So I've used the double-sided wood printed cardstock. I think I like this side for the floor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, again, fold on all the perfs. I use, because some of the perfs are close to the edge of the paper, it's easier to fold with something rigid like this ruler. So I'm just going to fold on all of the perfs. Now let's attach the two pieces together. At this point, it doesn't really matter what side you're going to use as the floor, as long as these two pieces you attach the same pattern. So you're going to look for the tab, and then you're going to glue the tab to the flat side of the other side. You never glue two tabs together. So there's the tab, and then there's the flat side. And notice how I am not gluing over the perf, because I want to be able to get that corner. I'm just going to use my clips right now to really get that glued really nicely. Now I'm trying to decide which side I want for my floor, and I think I want that side, not the side with the, yeah, I want that. So you want to find the side you want and make sure that that is what is on top. And then, because I folded it the wrong way, I need to refold these lines to be in the same direction as the floor. So let me just fold them again. Everything else looks good. Now I have another edge with another perf, and I'm just going to glue that. Again, I want that corner, so I don't want to glue over the perfs, the perforated edges, right? Because that's what's going to allow it to really be a nice square shape, is being able to have those squares. And you can see that once I have my glue dry, I'll be able to okay, now I let this dry a lot, because this is, I'm going to be gluing some more, and I really wanted to make sure that what I just connected was really glued well. So I'm going to now finish the floor, and I can completely take off my clips because it's very dry. I'm just going to square up my corners, and you can see that the flap basically is just going to lay on top of these tabs. So I'm going to glue these tabs. And then I'm just going to place this on the back. I want to square up my corners. Get there. And there's the floor. I know, it's so cool. It's so cool. I know. And now we'll just put the floor inside the lantern. First, let's put a bead of glue all the way around. Make sure it's nice and lined up and stuck. Now I'm going to put a bead of glue all the way around this floor, because when it goes into the lantern, I want to make sure that it stays there no matter what I put on top of it, right? So I'm just going to really glue all the edges. Now let's get our lantern and let's put the floor inside. I'm just going to load this up with clips because I want to let it sit. I want to let it really get glued together so that I can put the chair, the all the other things that I'm going to put in there. And that looks so cool. Doesn't it look so cool? It is just going to be so much fun for you to make this amazing lantern. I know. It's so awesome. Thank you for watching this tutorial. Please message me if you have any questions.